Good morning to all of you students. Today I would like to discuss integral transforms. What are the uses of integral transforms? Many practical engineering problems involve mechanical or electrical systems acted upon by discontinuous or impulsive forces. We use transforms to convert a problem for an unknown function f into a simpler problem for capital F, solve for capital F, and then recover small f from its transform capital F. Given a known function k of s comma t, an integral transform of a function f is a relation of the form capital F of s is equal to integral alpha to beta k of st f of t dt, where alpha and beta lie between minus infinity and plus infinity. Alpha being lower limit, alpha is less than beta. Let f be a function defined for t greater than or equal to 0 and satisfies certain conditions to be named later. This k of st is called kernel of the transformation. Laplace transform is a special case of integral transforms. The Laplace transform of f is defined as capital L of function of t, capital L of a function of t is equal to capital F of small s is given by integral 0 to infinity e power minus st f of t dt. Thus, the kernel function in the case of Laplace transform ks of t is given by e power minus st. Since solutions of linear differential equations with constant coefficients are based on the exponential function, the Laplace transform is particularly useful for such equations. Note that the Laplace transform is defined by an improper integral and thus must be checked for convergence. As you know, the limits of Laplace transform integral is 0 to infinity. So generally it is an improper integral. So convergence should be checked. So on the next few slides, we review examples of improper integrals and piecewise continuous functions. Example 1. Consider the following improper integral. Integral 0 to infinity e power st dt. This slide is already discussed. So, integral 0 to infinity e power st dt, an improper integral. We can evaluate this integral by using limit process. So, integral 0 to infinity e power st dt is given by limit some b tends to infinity, integral 0 to b e power st dt. So first you have to integrate e power st with respect to t between the limits 0 and b, then substitute b to be infinity or consider limit from b tending to infinity. So this on simplification you get 1 by s limit b tends to infinity e power sb minus 1. In this case, if s is equal to 0, then e power st is equal to 1. Thus the following cases hold. Integral 0 to infinity e power st dt is equal to minus 1 by s if s is less than 0. And the same integral diverges if s is greater than or equal to 0. Take another example. The improper integral 0 to infinity st cos t dt. So naturally, this integral can be evaluated using integration by parts. So integral 0 to infinity st cos t dt in the limit b tending to infinity 0 to b st cos t dt. So when b is tending to infinity in the limit, if you simplify this integral by using integration by parts, and variable of integration is t. So st sin t between limits 0 to b minus integral 0 to b s sin t dt, and further simplification. So at the end you get in this slide limit b tending to infinity sb sin b plus s cos b minus 1. Since this limit diverges, so does the original integral. So because this limit is going to diverge, the original integral also diverges. Piecewise continuous functions. A function f is piecewise continuous on a closed interval ab if this interval can be partitioned by a finite number of points. A is equal to t0, less than t1, less than t2, and so on up to less than tn is equal to b. So this t0, t1 and up to tn generates a partition in the closed interval a. 1. F is continuous on each subinterval tk plus 1. So mod limit t tending to tk plus f of t, that is right limit will be less than infinity k0 to n minus 1, and left limit t to tk plus 1 f of t will be less than infinity k is equal to n. So the graph of the function may be like this as shown. In other words, f is piecewise continuous on a closed interval ab. Piecewise in the sense the function is continuous in every subinterval. So if it is continuous there except for a finite number of jump discontinuities. Example 3. Consider the following piecewise defined function f. F of t is equal to t square when t lies between 0 and 1. 3 minus t, 1 less than t less than or equal to 2. T plus 1 if 2 less than t less than or equal to 3. So this is a piecewise continuous function where between 0 to 1, including 0 and 1, the function is t square. Between 1 and 2, 1 excluded, 2 included, it is 3 minus t. And it is t plus 1 when 3 included and 2 excluded. From this definition of f and from the graph of f below, we see that f is a piecewise continuous function on the closed interval 0, 3. Because 0, 1 is a one subinterval, 1 to 2 another subinterval, 2 to 3 another subinterval. So the complete interval is closed interval 0 to 3. So that function is diagrammatically, if you draw the graph, this is what you observe. So every curve, again along the curve it is continuous, piecewise continuous. So now another function, a piecewise function, I will just show you piecewise continuous function. f of t is equal to t square plus 1 between 0 and 1. 1 by 2 minus t or 2 minus t whole power minus 1 between 1 and 2, and it is 4 between 2 and 3. So here in the first case t square plus 1, both 0 and 1 are included in the interval. In the second case 1 is excluded, 2 is included. In the third case 2 is excluded, 3 is included. So this function f, as you see the graph, it is piecewise continuous in the closed interval 0, 3. So instead of a continuous curve, this curve is in the form of pieces, and that's why in every piece the function is continuous. So that's why it is called piecewise continuous. So just I am here introducing Laplace transforms, nature of piecewise continuous functions, and more details and study of the course will be conducted later. That is only introduction part of Laplace transforms. Now I just introduce Fourier transform. First of all, this Fourier transform is very much applicable in seismology. So these are the points you observe: estimation of spectra, windowing, resampling, seismograms, frequency content, eigenmodes of the earth, seismo weather with finite Fourier transforms. So these are the areas where you can apply Fourier transforms. Derivative using finite Fourier transforms. These are useful pseudo-spectral method for wave propagation. Convolutional operators, finite difference operators using finite Fourier transforms. Now the scope: understand how to calculate the spectrum from time series and interpret both phase and amplitude part. Learn other applications of the finite Fourier transforms in seismology. This is the scope of the course: Fourier transforms, Fourier, space and time. Let me tell you, here Fourier means it is the name of the person who invented this concept. So on his name it is Fourier transform. Space and time. Space: x space variable, capital L spatial wavelength, small k 2p by lambda spectral wave number, capital F of k wave number spectrum. And time: small t is time variable, capital T is period, small f is frequency, omega is equal to 2 pi f angular frequency. So in this topic of integral transforms, how to define Fourier transforms? With the complex representation of sinusoidal functions e power ikx or e power I omega t, the Fourier transformation can be written as small f of x is equal to 1 by root 2 pi minus infinity to infinity capital F of k e power minus ikx dk. K is the variable, and capital F of k is equal to 1 by root 2 pi minus infinity to infinity f of x e power I small kx dx. So second integral to obtain Fourier transform of a given function small fx. Now first integral is to take inverse Fourier transform for f of k and to get original function small f of x. Thank you.